What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're back with more Destiny 2 news. Of course it is Thursday, so we get Bungie's weekly update, but also the second hotfix for Destiny 2 in just a couple of days. And there are some fixes for missing rewards, buffs for loot drops, as well as a couple of other bug fixes, so we'll cover all of the patch notes for today, as well as rounding up what Bungie have got to say in the TWID. So as always, I hope you enjoy the video, and if you do, a rating below as well as a comment really does help us out on the channel guys, but otherwise, let's get into it. And firstly, for the second hotfix of the week, this is update 7302. For activities in the Crucible, Bungie say they fixed an issue where the Dragon's Bite artifact perk was unintentionally working in PvP, so that one should be behaving now. On top of that though, for seasonal activities, they fixed an issue where loot wasn't dropping for all players at the end of Riven Slayer playlist activities, and players will need to interact with the chest at the end in order to earn rewards. But importantly, that activity should be dropping more loot now. And then for the Warlord's Ruin dungeon, they fixed an issue where the game would crash when returning to orbit. That's been a very common one, so good to see it fixed. And finally for the Blindwell and Dreaming City, they updated the Blindwell's rewards to have a better chance at dropping Dreaming City weapons. And that's in reference to the reprised Dreaming City weapons that we got this season. So once again, it's positive that we'll get access to more of them. And then for gameplay and investment, for weapons, they fixed an issue where the Undercurrent Legendary Grenade Launcher showed an incorrect perk in collections. And for abilities, they fixed an issue where Devour wasn't restoring health when the player was in an active super, plus one where some ghost mods were missing their icons. So a few useful changes there. Of course, there are a handful of other issues that are affecting various aspects of the season as well, but I'm sure the cadence of updates will continue for the next couple of weeks. Next up though, in separate news, Bungie posted to Twitter, and the D2 team said we're reducing the focusing costs for ritual vendors in next week's update. All Crucible, Gambit, and Vanguard Ops legacy focusing will cost 3 engrams. The only exception is unobtained legacy Nightfall weapons will still cost 5 engrams. But previously obtained legacy Nightfall weapon focusing will cost 3 engrams. So bit of a preview for a couple of the changes that we'll see in the update next week. And I'd say overall is another positive move on the front of tuning early on this season, so give us your thoughts down below. Next up though, getting onto the TWID itself, and Bungie talk about the Dawning for 2023. So of course the event is returning next Tuesday on the 12th of December. And firstly, Bungie talk about baking cookies, of course everyone's absolute favourite thing to do during the Dawning, and gather ingredients and Dawning essence by defeating enemies and completing various activities and bounties. Once you have enough ingredients, you can combine them in Eva's holiday oven to create yummy treats like Gala Doodles, classic butter cookies, and more. And Eva's Holiday Oven 2.1 can be located in the Quest tab and is acquired from Eva Levante. And then of course we can gift the treats to various characters across the system in exchange for rewards, but on top of that, there'll be various Dawning upgrades. And we'll be able to purchase these using Dawning Spirit, which can be earned by completing event card challenges, activating boons of friendship, and delivering baked treats. And upgrades will last for the duration of the event and provide bonus event rewards, as well as the ability to earn Dawning weapons with additional perks. But also we'll get increased power and utility for stasis snowballs, and weapon focusing that allows us to target certain weapon drops. And they say in terms of stasis snowballs, this year they've updated the way that they're spawned, and eliminations using Dawning weapons or abilities will create a snowball spawn point where an enemy was defeated. I thought that was more or less how it always worked, perhaps I'm wrong. But additionally, there will be a new Dawning Memento, and they say pick up the Winter Night quest from Eva Levante for the chance to earn the Dawning Memento reward, and additional mementos can be acquired from opening a gift in return once the first memento is earned. So we need to essentially unlock it via the quest, but then we have random chances to get extra ones, which is cool. And of course, additionally, there will be a new Dawning weapon, the Albedo Wing. We've spoken about this a little bit, but they say we can acquire the weapon from event challenges, weapon focusing, or festive engrams, which can be purchased using a gift in return and Dawning Spirit. And we can see the Glaive right there with the Dawning skin. They say this is Destiny's second hard-hitting aggressive Glaive, and it can roll some of the new perks from the season, including the very new, very cool Beacon Rounds perk, which is otherwise only found on rocket-assisted sidearms. And of course that enables tracking for projectiles, which will definitely be interesting on a Glaive. And they point out that Dawning weapons this time around will have a bunch of other new perks, including Deconstruct, but also things like Attrition Orbs, Cold Steel, where Powered Sword hits slow targets, and the Dawning Origin trait, where rapidly defeating targets awards a Dawning gift, and defeated powerful targets will count as more than one. And they point out that the Cold Steel perk will come on the Zephyr Sword. So let us know if you're going to be playing the Dawning this year, or certainly try and pick up the Glaive. Of course there'll also be be Dawning Armor, and that can be purchased in the Eververse store. And then in the TWID, there are links for some of the Bungie store items associated with the Dawning, including a Dawning beanie and a backpack. And on top of that, Bungie will be running a competition called the Great Dawning Bake-Off, and they want Guardians everywhere to make their best desserts and share them with the community through pictures and videos, so the spirit of Dawning reaches every corner of the world. They say players can jump in and make their own versions of the Dawning cookies with a little help from the evil Avante, or you can try something different, including a dessert that's unique to the region you live in, and as long as players take inspiration from the Dawning, Season of the Wish, or Destiny 2, they say we'll love it. And so starting today, winners will be chosen among those who submit their entries using the hashtag Dawning Bake-Off, and creations will be featured in the TWID, as well as being awarded the Art of the Week or Movie of the Week emblem, as well as the special Draconis Tetrachroma emblem. So if you want more details about that, it's in the TWID linked down below. And as well, they point out that the Fireteam Finder beta is currently live. We can use that for any activities in the game now, so it's certainly worth jumping in and trying out. But there are also some Season of the Wish launch updates that they cover in the TWID. Some of these they have spoken about already. On the front of the Blind Well, they say one of the goals is to make sure players know from the start that there's an increased difficulty and new loot for the activity, but also they point out that it isn't an activity players will have to do every week this season, and they won't need to return to Blind Well until week 6 of the quest. Then for things like Riven's Lair, they say the goal is for loot to be front and center. Although from early observations, the shard economy is too unforgiving, and the team is looking to improve on this in the future. And for PvP, they say, control will be available as a selectable mode when Checkmate control is active. They don't have any plans to turn Checkmate on across Crucible itself, but instead they're aiming for a midway point for ability cooldowns and weapon cooldowns that doesn't result in specific weapons dominating. They also point out they're aware of some issues with Checkmate's ammo implementation for special, and they'll be trying different approaches for that in the future. Plus, they'll continue regularly tuning Checkmate's time to kill, and the target going forward is to keep the optimal time to kill consistent with the current Crucible sandbox. But they'll also look at reducing body shot damage, and they're aware of various spawn issues on Countdown Rush on the Citadel and Multiplex, so they're temporarily disabling those maps in competitive. So there are those and a couple of other updates inside of the TWID, which once again is linked in the description box. They also confirm there will be orb cooldown changes for heavy-handed, firepower, and Reaper mods that we'll get in the update next week, and that'll be alongside the changes we spoke about at the start of the video, with vendor focusing costs and things like that. And for today, guys, that is everything that we have to speak about in the video. So as always, share any of your thoughts down in the comments section on what Bungie have pointed out today. I'll keep you posted next week with the Dawning and the upcoming quest content this season, as well as any news updates that we get from Bungie, so be sure to stay tuned here on the channel. But otherwise, I appreciate you tuning in as always, and whatever you get up to, I hope you have an awesome day.